solemnly vow to love you faithfully, forsaking all others. I promise to trust and respect you, and to keep you safe for as long as we both shall live. All that I have is now yours.
Hey everyone, today I've got your 50 Shades Freed movie review. The 50 Shades franchise is coming to an end. Will this movie have the epic climax it deserves? So as far as the story goes, this movie is directed by the same guy behind 50 Shades Darker, and this movie was being shot back to back with that movie, which was the second movie of the franchise, and now this is the third and final film that shows the completion of this romantic tale between Anastasia Steele and Jamie Dornan, and they are figuring out married life because they show in the beginning of the movie that they are getting married, because at the end of 50 Shades Darker was when the proposal happened, and now we're seeing what exactly it is like to be married to Christian Grey. And is it all that's cracked up to be? I think that because I had read all three of the books, and this movie especially, before seeing this movie, I don't want to judge this movie based off of what I had read, but I definitely felt like there were some things blatantly left out of the movie that made the scenes look slightly choppy. Some things didn't quite add up, or there should have been more loose ends being tied here. The whole order of events in this movie is the marriage, then the honeymoon, then something happens, and it's turning out to be more than any of the 50 Shades movies we had seen in the past. So it almost feels like a completely different type of movie, even though it still contains sex scenes, and things just get really crazy in this movie. Now, as far as the casting goes, you got Dakota Johnson, who plays Anastasia Steele. Anastasia Grey. You know, she definitely feels like she's more empowered in this movie because she has this new title, even though she didn't want it holding her back. But I kind of think it makes her a more powerful and strong character, especially when she has to put up with Jamie Dornan's Christian Grey. We all know, you know, he might be considered a wooden actor, though I think he was pretty good in The Fall. You guys should definitely check that out. And I don't want to say that these movies are career killers, but I definitely think, you know, he did his best, she did her best in these roles, even though they hated each other. And you really want to see, especially in this movie, you want to see that chemistry because of all of the stuff that they have to put up with being a married couple and having to put up with other people who are potentially after them, like Eric Johnson's character, Jack Hyde, who I still think was a very intense role for him. And, you know, I really didn't see much else from the supporting cast. Even though I did like the other actors in this movie, whether it were the older actors or even some of the newcomers to the cast, like Brant Daugherty, who I loved seeing in Pretty Little Liars, and, you know, he plays Sawyer. And then you've got Ariel Cabell, who, if you've seen Ballers, you know who she is, who plays Gia Mateo, who, seriously, if I were Anastasia Steele, I would have punched her if she tried to hit on my man, being Christian Grey. It's always good to see some familiar faces in this movie, but yet there were some actors who were left out of the movie that were definitely in the book. Not going to say who, but if you see this movie, you'll definitely know who was not in this movie. So I definitely think that their story arcs were not, or their character arcs were not patched up. The things that I liked about this movie was that the change of tone that was set in this movie set it apart from the previous two movies, and that was because it was more thrilling, and you get to see car chases and you know, people going after each other, and it just seems really intense and insane to watch at times, because you might not know exactly what is going to happen, because if they don't go exactly by the book, literally, then who knows what's going to go down in this movie. And it focused a lot more on filling that gap with the character development versus showing the sex scenes. And I know that the other movies seem to be heavy on that, but even when they were showing them in this movie, it just felt very abrupt, and I didn't exactly like that per se. But if it's, you know, part of the movie and it goes well with the flow of the movie, then I'm all for it. Because this was the last movie, it made me emotional at times to watch certain scenes unfold, so at least I could say that it had a bittersweet ending. So unfortunately, the things that I didn't really like about this movie was that the plot felt rushed in more ways than one, and I think it did have to do with the scenes being edited weird, and certain scenes should have continued more, because this movie was the shortest of the three, and, you know, maybe it didn't exactly help that they spent time to do a Twilight Saga montage of the previous two movies leading up to this one. Yeah, that looked really cool, but then I think they could have utilized their time better in this film when it came to showing things that, you know, maybe would have fit better on screen, that could have possibly explained certain things in the film for the audience. So overall, I would say that 50 Shades Freed is still a pretty decent film, and yeah, I know these movies aren't supposed to be taken seriously, so if I enjoyed it, if I loved it, you know, that's just the way it's going to be. I would still recommend seeing this movie. Yeah, it's going to be cheesy at times, and if you didn't like the other two movies, you're probably not going to want to see this, so why bother seeing it at all unless you want to just see it because you saw the previous two. So I would give this 4 hearts on the heart rate scale. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of 50 Shades Freed, and how would you rank all 3 50 Shades films. And as always, you guys can subscribe to my channel. I've got more movie reviews, movie updates, come back every week for a Child Thursday video. You guys can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you guys later.